separate HR strategy and a business strategy. It's the business strategy. We talk about talent in the context of business and what those business objectives are and what does that mean, and how do we as HR professionals harness and leverage the talent that we've got, the systems and processes we put in place to develop that talent, to keep that talent, to move it around, to push it to its capacity and capability.
We all know how frustrated HR has been. I don't know a single organization that we're working with that doesn't recognize how absolutely critical HR is to the ability to deliver on their strategy.
Many of the companies that we work with, HR is still trying to emerge as a critical contributor to organization effectiveness, to organization strategy, and to actually get a seat at the table.
Organizations still have yet to realize the inextricable connection between enterprise strategy and human capital strategy. We have to go faster to accelerate the reconnection of the understanding that business strategy and human strategy are the same. They're not different. And if we don't begin to understand the talent strategy agenda needed, beyond just in our talk, or beyond just in the articles and journal entries, but actually in practice, our strategies will continue to fall short of our expectations.
When you think about the vital resources of an organization, financial, physical, and human resources, the resources that are really going to drive your business forward are primarily your human resources.
I worked with one HR leader, probably the best HR leader I will ever have worked with a company that was voted twice, not once, but twice, the #1 company to work for in America on Fortune's list. And somebody asked him the question, how do we help HR people get that seat at the table? And his answer was quite stark, but quite good. He said, HR people will get that seat at the table the minute they stop complaining about not having a seat at the table. And touche, because it's the truth.
So I think what I would say is, HR, stop asking for the voice. You have it. Use it.
So the question then for an HR function is, what components of the organization do they have access to that gives them the credibility to participate in a decision process or sit at the table with the senior executives? And the answer is they control simply the most important asset in the organization. They are responsible for the people who flow in, the people that move around, and the people that flow out.
I think quite often leaders know how to lead their individual teams, but if you think about really harnessing talent and human resources for a full organization, they really don't know where to go. We had a client who was going through enterprise transformation, so their business had dropped off significantly, cost structure was way out of whack, so they knew they actually had to get after the organization design. Their HR leader had been in the business 5-6 years, knew the business really well. And I believe they put that leader in charge of the organization design work because somehow it seemed like, well, there's people and there's org charts and there's structural stuff, so that's got to have something to do with HR. But this HR person knew that to truly impact the business had to be making decisions about organization design and structure and what roles and how do we relook at doing work differently.
I had the great fortune of working with a newly entering EVP of HR at one of our client systems recently. In working with this individual, and it was great because he was just entering the system, he didn't have any sort of past history. The reality of the organization he entered is a very strong CEO who had been very dismissive of HR. We prepped him to go back to his business partners to vet this strategic HR plan. But we helped him use language, this business language. We helped interpret what the implications for your agenda, your priorities are, given where the organization is prepared to deliver and where it's not. And so that sort of engaging his business partners in a way they'd never been engaged before. We even got him to equate the ROI in terms of earnings per share. It was really kind of incredible, the transformation that HR had in terms of how they were perceived. The CEO went from being dismissive of HR to The EVP of this new EVP of HR became one of his most trusted colleagues.
There's so much value to be delivered, so much value being left on the table. And if the HR community began to truly believe and embrace the notion of what they had to contribute as mandatory to the strategy, develop themselves and prepare themselves to be business people first, and to bring their HR tools and HR practices to the business, spoke the language of the business, we would see transformation happening so much faster than we're seeing it today, because that's the missing piece.
HR, you got the seat. Start using it, and your first best activity is to probably reach out and really understand what your business partners in the organization are trying to do and where talent or process or programs are getting in the way of success, and target your energy there.
And so as I look forward to what businesses have to do in order to compete successfully, it is to be able to attract, select, develop, promote, and really enable and build an infrastructure within which their human talent can succeed and thrive. It's always gratifying, not just to put systems and processes and build those out and build the infrastructure, but more importantly, to help HR find its voice in the organization.